Hey, hello. Here's Stuck in Traffic with Wolf Gorlock, a few minutes riffing on IT and IT security. Today looking at the afterlife. So this is not one of my usual funny videos. So just be warned, if you don't want anything too serious, click away now. If you're still with me, here's the stitch. So I was in Quebec for Hackfest CA, had a great time, flew back in a teeny tiny plane and landed to some rather serious news. My father passed away. So I had to go from Quebec to Detroit to his house to identify the body. And I've since been going through trying to put the pieces back together. And the tip for you is this, have the conversation with your folks if they're older about preparing for these things. And if you are in the case of having a bit of gray hair like myself, prepare as well. You guys may remember, so oftentimes I talked about my father and he would get scammed and everything, and I'd be like, talk to your parents about this type of scam. And so he did listen. That's the good side. The not so good side is he put on things like MFA, which sounds all right, MFA on your phone sounds okay. I mean, I would recommend that. The challenge is now trying to get into any of his accounts because his MFA is on his phone and his phone's locked, and for whatever reason, dead men tell no tales and apparently do not work with Face ID or fingerprints on phones. So I've yet to get into some of the accounts. I also have a lot of questions about what is what and where things go. I've got a great new book, I'm Dead, Now What? Snazzy title that I'm going to be filling out myself for my kids because a lot of things just aren't clear, right? There's folders everywhere, there's half information everywhere. I don't necessarily have access to all his passwords. Some of them were written down. We can have an argument about whether you should use a password manager or a password book, but for a 70-something-year-old guy, password book is probably good, especially for me, who now finally has at least access to some of these accounts. Except for the ones that have MFA. See my earlier comment about MFA on the phone. There's a lot of security aspects I'm working through to A, identify and do recon on accounts, B, get into the accounts, and C, then do the right things for the estate. And I think a lot of this is things that that can be thought of ahead of time and should be thought of ahead of time. And I'm hoping to think of ahead of time for my family. Things like setting up your executor as, their phone as a recovery option. Setting up your executor's email as a recovery option. Those types of things would make a lot of this a lot easier. So that's my tip for you. Please check into this with your parents, if you're blessed to still have them. And please be prepared for this for your kids. Because we don't know what's coming. And the security aspect of this is probably the least amount of impact, but something at least we can get ahead of straight away. What do you think? Have you gone through this? Do you have any tips for me? That would be helpful. Hit me up in comments or social media. Cheers.